All right, brother. Already done a little bit of work already to your Texas Star 667 here. I had already done the power wire upgrade a little while ago. I went ahead and knocked out about 10 or 15 Texas Stars at once, and I had done it at that point. So here is the MOSFET driver I have removed. Okay, and you said you wanted the old school regular Toshiba BJT transistor driver. So I got you one right here already ready to go to install in here. I'm gonna have to see, this right here was actually we had made this decision after I had done the power wire upgrade, so I'm going to have to remove these two power wires, and I'm just going to have to move them back a little bit so I can fit this in here just fine. Here's your brand spanking new Toshibas, straight from IRF parts. It's going in there. And got a couple other things we're going to be doing. Blue transmit light on the meter. There's the DEIs that came out of it. And, I mean, they're some of them are so low in gain they're not even registered as a transistor. And here is your fan kit. New style fan kit with the high-low switch. So you'll be getting the new style fan kit. So let me get all this put together for you, big brother, and make the final video with it all put together. And got your top lid. I cleaned it up real well, and right now it is drying. I went ahead and put the coat of 3 coats of paint on it for you, so it's drying right now. So we'll be back, and I'll put a little Gatekeeper product logo right here for you. And I know you've been waiting a while for this, bud. Thanks for hanging in there with me. All right, I'll be back. Alrighty, all done. To go back from the top, this right here was sent to me by Mr. Don, and he's been waiting a little while for it, and I want to thank him so much for hanging in here with me. He basically wanted me to go to the top with this amplifier and just do all the modifications that I normally do or have available. This originally was a Texas Star 667 as of now age, meaning it wasn't too old at all when he sent it to me. It's a currently style 667, meaning it was a hybrid. 2 520s driving 4 DEI 2879s. Okay, so he wanted to lace it with all brand new Toshibas, and he also wanted me to take the 520s out and go with the normal old school, as we can say now, 2290 driver. As you see right here, it's already been installed. He wanted the full-blown power wire upgrade that I always do, all the way to the back of the transformers. So you're coming in with 2 8 gauges on the power, 2 8 gauges on the ground. Now each board has its own 8 gauge for the ground and the power. And then it jumps over here. Instead of powering these 2 transistors with about 28 gauge wire, now they're being powered with 14 gauge wire. And then the driver is now being powered with 16 gauge wire instead of around 28 gauge wire. So this thing will not starve for current, not at all. Fuses have been bypassed, and this is something I do need to talk about more. I don't mention a lot. Having the fuses on the amplifier is not mandatory. I like to say that a lot of manufacturers do that to be electronically politically correct. Electrically, the best place for you to have your fuse is as close to your power source as possible. So if you're putting this in a mobile, you want your fuse at the battery. Okay, this amp comes with 2 35 amp fuses. with all the power wire upgrades and all that good stuff, you can put a 70 amp fuse if you'd like, or an 80 amp fuse if you'd like at the battery, if you really want to have a fuse for extra protection. You can put you a big whopping A&L fuse or whatever at the battery. Now if you're running this indoors on a power supply, 9 times out of 10 your power supply is going to be fully protected, so you're not going to need a fuse. You know, your power supply will have reverse polarity protection and all that good stuff. And if you just absolutely still want a fuse, you know, I'm never going to knock down anybody wanting extra protection. You could just put the fuse holder at the power supply and the fuse at the power supply. So anyway, I need to talk about that more. I forget to mention it. So anyway, this was a repair also. I know, Don, you told me that you had 2 bulbs out. You actually only had 1 bulb out. And I would probably have to say this is the first time I've ever had a Texas Star do this before. So I went ahead and wrote it down in my little Texas Star diary. I like things that I've never seen before because I'm about to learn something. Alright. The bulb was not working for right here on your dial-a-watt. Alright, let me zoom in. The reason why it wasn't working is because it did not have a ground to the bulb. So whenever you press your power in, that then releases the power to this bulb and the ground. Okay. This, let me see here to see, just so I can make sure I'm telling this 100%. I got a couple of these brand new Texas Star boards right here. If you look right here on the power switch and right here, which is that switch, the power switch and the dial-a-watt switch both share a ground. Then these right here connects to this little bar that you see right here. See this little bar? And the base will connect because in the holes are engrafted with copper that go through the holes that carry the connection on. Okay, so this right here is the ground bar for the power switch, and the dial-a-watt switch is ground. When you press the power in, that's what's sending the ground from the power switch, from the front of the board, over to the dial-a-watt switch. Okay, weirdly enough, I have no idea how this happened. I've kind of thought about it, but I have really hadn't came up with a solution as of why it happened. It could just be manufacturer error that caused it to I don't know. But the trace did not blow under the board. But somehow or another, from this point right here to this point, like I said, the trace under the board didn't blow. So the only thing that possibly could have happened was somehow or another the copper that's in this hole, or engulfed around this hole that goes to the bar up underneath, somehow disconnected or blew out or something. It's like I said, I've never seen this happen before. I went ahead and wrote it down in my little Texas Star book, but that's what happened. So what I had to do was just come right here and give you a ground. And I wanted to run the power as short as absolute possible. I could have got it from over here. I just went ahead and got it from right here, which is where the transformer's winding is grounded. And so it's sitting on this leg right here on the switch. And I can't remember if that's the common leg or what. But anyway, when you push the switch in, this leg right here, do you see where the red wire soldered to touches this side of the bulb? And these bulbs are not polarity. They don't have polarity. That's why you'll see they're reversed on some of the switches. But anyway, so that required a repair instead of just replacing the bulb. I thought it would be kind of weird that the bulb would be blown, being as new as the box is. So anyway, another thing that Mr. Don wanted me to do is he wanted me to do the little blue LED modification for the front meter. Now, I've done this in the past. I haven't done one in a while. I hadn't had anybody request one in a while. But I've done this in the past in many different ways. It almost seems like every time I do it, I change it up a little bit. This right here, though, is by far the most dramatic way that I've ever done it. I kind of wanted to go out a little bit for Mr. Don here. He's been waiting for a while. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 5mm LEDs shining right here at the top portion of the meter. See, this meter doesn't have real good luminosity through it as you would think it would with other color lights. If I would have just left off, actually, see this LED on the end? I left that LED out and had just 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. And I could see right here in the front, you could see where that little portion wasn't lit up. So I went ahead and added one more to it. And then also, I have a LED strip that has 3 LEDs on it to light up the bottom. So this right here by far is lighting this bulb, this meter up brighter blue than any other time I've done that before. Next thing that Mr. Don wanted me to do was add the fan kit, which many of you've probably seen a lot. I didn't have any black feet left. I had some white feet, so that's why you see some white feet on there. So this is your dual fan kit, my friend. And I went ahead and did a new addition to the fan kit with a high-low switch. And the reason why I like to do that now, I'm going to start doing that with all the fan kits. The reason why I like doing that was the 2 fans on this fan kit are 3 times as more powerful than I was using when I first started making these fan kits. So they can be loud. They can be quite loud. So if you don't want all that loudness, now you can put it on low if you wish. But if, of course, you're going to have the amp kind of, away from the radio or whatever, and you can just leave it on high. You want all the air that you possibly can have coming out these fins, trying to keep this thing cold. And of course, this right here is where your fans plug up at. Okay, so that's your fan plug. Got that labeled for you back there like I always do. Alright, buddy. So this thing right here is nice. This thing turned out great. I also went ahead and cleaned up everything for you. Cleaned up a lot of the flux that was on the boards. Went ahead and cleaned that. Got you 4 new 330 picofarad caps, which are these right here. I had to replace them because them 4 were not matched. They were quite far off. That can happen through failures. I know you said this amp had failed on you before and you had sent it somewhere and got it fixed. So I just want to make sure all those 330s match starting off for you. So just look how clean that looks. I made sure to go in there and clean all that up for you, man, so this thing can look as clean as it can. See how clean it looks? All the flux is off from around the transistors. 4 brand new non-dots, along with a brand spanking new 2290. And yes, y'all, that was not fun. But luckily I already had it put together. I've got 2 of these driver sections put together already, because I can't remember when it was, probably close to 6 months ago. I was practicing, I was practicing something. I couldn't remember what it was. Sometimes I'll just take time and practice. But anyway, I was trying to practice duplicating exactly the way Texas Star does their driver sections right here. And I didn't actually build this circuit. As you can see, that's be hard to duplicate that. That's identical to Texas Star, but the front was removed and the back was removed, and so I just put them both together and put your 2290 in there. But I had went ahead and put together, I think, 3 or 4 of these, because I had some spare 2290s that didn't match any of the other ones. So I went ahead and made these, because I have a lot of people that come and send 500s wanting them converted to 667s, and I have a lot of 667s back, to 500s. So I like to have parts prepared when they come in. But anyway, not to bore you, let's get on with the good stuff. I know you said you would like to have this amplifier do around 700 watts or so. And the only other thing I think I missed out, forgot to mention, was I had to, of course, change the bias resistors, the voltage divider circuit, part of the bias circuit. And I had to also play around with this set, because this section was a little higher. No. This section was a little lower than this section. And I always try my hardest to make sure both sections are right there at the same exact turn-on voltage when you test your bias. So I took off the resistor right here that came with the board, and put in a 1.8 ohm resistor right into place, because you'll find a lot of the 667s are done that way anyway, and they're using a 1.8 over here instead of 1.6. All right, let's get stop with all the technical crap and let's see what this thing's doing. I know you said you wanted to see around 700 watts, so let's see what we can do. First off, just for the fun of it, we're going to key it up on 13.8 volts. That battery's about dead. That's why I like leaving it off most of the time. Oh, last but not least, I know this wasn't on the list, but I think we talked about it and you said you wanted an Anderson added, so I went ahead and put an Anderson on there for you. These right here are SB120s. Just looking at it on the camera, it looked like probably SB50s, but these are SB120s. You don't see them a lot. I don't know why people don't use them a lot, but they are a little expensive. You're sometimes better off just getting the 175s, but these are the SB120s, 120 amp connectors. This is yours right here. I'm sending with the amp so you can put on at your house. And I have made a video already showing you how to install Andersons by solder and how to use them. If you need to refer to it, just look down a couple of videos from this video. It should be. So you got your Anderson connector already installed on your power wires for you. Alright, so we're using the bench radio, which is doing 4 watts RMS, swinging about 18 to 20 peak. Alright, we're going to look at the RMS first. Here, just to let you see, all your bulbs are working now. Oh, you saw that flash, didn't you? Turn that delay. that blue. I'll go ahead and demonstrate your fans. That's on low. You can probably hear it just a little bit. This is on high. Up is high, down is low. So we'll go ahead and leave it on low. Alright, got the amp on high. And what I'll do here in a minute, I'll turn the lights out so we can see this thing light up a little. But you can already see right there, that's lighting that up very nice. That is the brightest meter. And I will tell you, I probably worked close to 2.5 hours longer just doing this for you, bud. I wanted to go all out for you, Don. You deserve it, my man. Alright, so we're on high, looking at the RMS. Focus, 1000 watt slug, focus. Focus. I guess you don't want to focus. Alright, 1000 watt slug. Reading the bottom scale. Go right there about 300 bird. That's dead keying about 200, which is a little too high. I don't suggest running it with that high of a dead key. Oh, yeah, right there about 300. Here, we'll press the green button in and see what dead key that gives us in. See, that green button is going to introduce some attenuation. Let's see what that drops the dead key to. About 80 watts. See, that's a lot better. 80 to 100 watts is where I like to try to keep my 667. Oh, see, it drops a little bit in the RMS though. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's beautiful. That is beautiful. All right, I'm going to take it back out of medium, I guess you can say. Put it back on high. All right, let's take a look at the PEP. This is 13.8 volts. Oh, yeah, that's about 650 watts. 650 watts on 13.8 volts. Oh, all right. Now let's see what happens if we crank this voltage up to about 14.5. Oh, there's your 700 watts, man. And most vehicles are going to be running around 14.5. Let's crank it up to about 15.2. Oh, 800 watts. 800 watts. Here's your input reflect. Oh, yeah. Beautiful, beautiful, as it normally is with Texas Stars. That's 800 watts PEP. I don't think I've ever shown a 667 on this bench using this crappy little supply that I always use. Not on the big supply, not on the 100 amp. I ain't even gonna hook the 100 amp up. I don't really want to anyway, because we got the fans on here. They're not regulated, protected. I mean, I could unplug it, but I don't really want to either because of the LEDs. I mean, the amount of time I spent with them LEDs, I don't want to let that float voltage even I don't even want. Let's say I ain't gonna. It ain't worth it. It ain't worth the risk of me putting that on an unregulated supply. Texas Stars really should be ran on regulated supplies anyway. I know there's a lot of experienced operators out there, though. I know a few myself that do run Texas Stars on unregulated supplies, and they're successful with it, but it's best to just run them on regulated if you can. Let's take a look at the RMS with the volts turned up to 15.2. I'm just going to see if it's increased it. Oh, God, look at that. 350 bird, man. Oh, that is amazing. That is amazing. Oh, that is amazing. Brother, this 667 is kicking butt, man. This cotton pigger is smoking in a good way. I don't think I've ever had a 667 show 800 watts peak on this supply. If I hook this bad boy up on that big supply over there, on that 100 amp unregulated supply, you know it'd be over a kilowatt. Probably over 500 plus bird, but I ain't gonna do that with this one. The LEDs would probably be fine, but still, I ain't even. There's no need to do it, man. This thing's doing 800 on the bench. I ain't even hooked up no big radio up to it. This bad boy right here is rocking and rolling, and I know you're gonna be happy with it, bud. Give me 1 second. Let me press pause. We will get your top here, and as you know, whenever I do these fan kits, it's just something I like to do. I like to go ahead and paint the top and the bottom with some good Rust-Oleum paint and a couple of clear coats. The inside right here is painted with a different paint. Kind of want to do that with a little bit different. Sometimes I'll paint the inside like that, sometimes I don't. Takes a lot longer to do it like that with different paints, but kind of wanted this one to be a little bit rougher since it's going to be sitting on something. Let me get this top put on here, man. I'll let you take a look at the amp. with it on. Also, I want to key this thing up with the top on with the lights out. You see that blue light up again. Be right back. Alright, there she is, man. Dang, this nasty covering for the table here makes it look bad, don't it? This thing's so beautiful, so clean. Really makes this look bad. About time to take this off and wash it anyway. But this thing looks nice, man. Like I've said in a lot of my videos, I believe all these Texas Star 400s up to 667s all should come with fan kits like this. They really should, man. You would probably have a lot of them. A lot of them. Last longer. And not need to be repaired as much. Looks great. And one of these dang days, I'm gonna do this to one of my own. Which right now I don't even own a 667 or a 400 or 500. Ain't that bad? Oh boy! All right, let's get this light turned up. I just want to see this thing light up with the light off. Turn that monitor off, dude. Oh. Oh man, look at that. That is beautiful. That is amazing, man. That is beautiful. I have never had one light up that good. See, all the other ones I've done, usually I'll put a little LED in the very bottom of the meter and it'll light up the bottom really well and a little bit of the top. But this method right here, this lights up the whole meter. I mean, there's just a tad bit you can see. Just a tad bit. But that's the most it's ever done. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That is beautiful. That is beautiful. That is really cool. All right, let me get on out here and get my butt in the bed, man. Get this thing packaged up and get it out to you, man. I know you dying to get this thing at your house so you can use it and enjoy it, buddy. Thank you, Mr. Don, for hanging in there with me, brother. God bless everybody out there. Thanks for all the prayers for my dad. He's doing well. Just got done with his radiation and has scheduled for his surgery. So I want to thank everyone out there that's hung in there with me and has prayed for him. Thank you. Thank you so much. Mr. GK, the Gatekeeper. Peace, and I'm gone. Bye, bye, bye.